Nico di Angelo was a character from Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Heroes of Olympus, and Trials of Apollo, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about why I want a standalone book on this character. But before getting into that, I had to give a major spoiler warning because I'm going to be talking about scenes and moments not just from PJO, Heroes of Olympus, and Trials of Apollo, but also from the most recent Trials of Apollo book, which is the Tower of Nero. So, with that, let's get started. So, the talk about Nico getting his own book/series has been talked about by fans for quite a long time. And it's even revealed in an interview and a tweet by Riordan that he might write a Nico novel, and because of all that, I decided to share my say on that. Obviously, I highly agree with Nico getting his own book, and today I'll explain why. So first, I'm going to be giving my personal thoughts on Nico, and basically my first impression of him. So as we all know, we first meet Nico in the Titan's Curse when Percy, Annabeth, and Thalia are tasked to recruit him and Bianca to Camp Half-Blood. And to be honest, he didn't really give a huge impression on me at first. I actually thought he was just gonna be like a minor character, and obviously that is so wrong because Nico is one of the main characters in the entire Riordanverse, and he plays major roles and plot points in the later books. So when they finally reached Camp Half-Blood, I would say that I was a bit annoyed by Nico because he was just all jumpy and curious about literally everything, and also, he forced Percy to make that promise to keep Bianca safe. You know, looking back at me being quite annoyed with Nico for being, jolly sort of hurts me right now because I know what happens to Nico in the later books, and now I want that old jolly and curious Nico. So overall, I didn't full on love him or full on hate him either. I was just in the middle. I was okay with him. So we all know that Bianca dies by the Titan's Curse, and from that point on, Nico just changed. He wasn't happy and relaxed anymore, and instead he was gloomy, he didn't really eat that much, he communicated more with the dead rather than the living, and he left Camp Half-Blood. Also, he blamed Percy for Bianca's death, and honestly, I felt bad for him. So when I finished PJO, I would say that I had mixed opinions about Nico. I know that there are a lot of people out there who loved and absolutely adored Nico after the first 5 books, but I'm sorry, but I didn't really feel that way. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't hate Nico, and now I even love him as a character, but I didn't love him right away after the first 5 books. Instead, I grew to love him in the Heroes of Olympus and Trials of Apollo because his character development is absolutely amazing. I mean, from a kid who was so jolly and crazy about mythomagic, he became a gloomy person who hated himself and his life, and then he transformed and came out as a hero who broke down his walls and accepted not only that Bianca was dead and that there was no way of getting her back, but he also accepted the fact that he was gay and that it was okay to be. So now, let's talk about the question that I mentioned earlier, which is why I want a standalone book for Nico. So basically, the main reason why I want a standalone book for Nico is because of what he's been through. I mean, compared to the rest of the characters in the Riordanverse, I would say that Nico has been through quite a lot, and I think that fans sort of underestimate that. So, because of that, I'll give you guys a bit of a history lesson on Nico's past. So, Nico was born around the 1930s in Italy when Benito Mussolini was still dictator, and at a young age, he saw his mother die because of a lightning strike from Zeus. And then, along with his sister Bianca, he was placed in the Lotus Casino for literally 70 years, and was suddenly discharged by it by an unknown person in the Titan's Curse. And then, after being shocked that 70 long years has passed, and that they weren't in 1930s Italy anymore, Nico saw his own sister pledge herself to the goddess Artemis. And, at the same book, Percy, a guy he believed in and had a crush on, broke the news that his sister was dead. His sister, who he was with for more than 70 years of his life, just died, and a guy who he looked up to just failed him. And filled with grief and anger, Nico went on a journey to get her back, and ended up with King Minos, who eventually betrayed him and practically used him for his own cause. But despite everything, Nico still fought alongside Percy, and ultimately, he came out as a hero who risked his life to save Olympus. But people didn't accept him as a child of Hades, so eventually he just left Camp Half-Blood. And after all that, he gets sucked into Tartarus just to help his half-sister Hazel, and then he gets kidnapped by twin giants who are literally unkillable without a god, and placed in a jar with nothing to eat but pomegranate seeds. And then once he's out, he sees his former crush and his girlfriend fall off a cliff that went straight to literal hell. And in the book after that, he's forced to admit that he was gay after hating himself for it for years. And in the next book, he's forced to shadow travel even if it almost kills him. And it's revealed in the Trials of Apollo that Nico was always having nightmares about Tartarus. And in the Tower of Nero, it said that Nico was constantly hearing a voice calling at him that haunts him literally every night. So, that's what Nico's been through, and for a 15 to 16-year-old, he's been through quite a lot. And with that life story in mind, I would want a standalone book at him because I want to see him resolve all that in his point of view. I mean, sure, we were able to get a glimpse of how his mind works in the Blood of Olympus, but it didn't cover everything. Another reason why I want a book on Nico's character is because of his relationship with Will's Solace. I want to see how Nico slowly developed feelings for Will, and how he got up the nerve to ask him out because we weren't able to see that in the Trials of Apollo, even if it's mentioned multiple times that they were in a relationship. Finally, I want the Nico book because of the information we got from the Tower of Nero. So, like I said earlier, Nico's been hearing a voice that's been calling from him in Tartarus, and it's been bugging him for quite a long time. And at the last chapter of the Tower of Nero, Nico, along with his boyfriend Will, plan to go on a journey to find out who or what is calling to Nico. Also, Rachel announced a prophecy to Will and Nico for their quest, and the fact that Riordan didn't place the prophecy in this book is just making me even more curious. Also, the added detail that it might be Bob or Damison from the House of Hades had me more hooked to that journey because they might have survived the encounter with Tartarus. So how about you? Would you like a Nico book? Let me know in the comments down below.